Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 178. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, which I'm joined by Chris Seeley,
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero,
Yo.
and Brett Murdoch.
What's up, everybody?
All right, a little bit of a lighter crew tonight, and since I didn't want to be the only asshole on camera, I'm going to be off camera. Manny's still in Chi-Town. Adam's going to be back on Thursday, and Brian's doing Brian things. What's he doing this week, man? Is he saving the queen again, man? So what's this dude up to?
He's dealing with some rebellious tea droppers. They're throwing tea into the ocean.
Oh no, I didn't know they did that in England too. This shit is crazy
just
right now.
Small talk. You gotta constantly keep stamping it out. They learned their lesson with America. They don't tolerate that shit anymore.
Yeah, right.
Plus, it's a waste of perfectly good tea.
Yeah, seriously, come on, guys. Tea's good. I had to learn how to drink tea. I wasn't into tea for most of my life. Then one day I just started drinking. I'm like, hey, this shit is pretty good.
Dude, the whole thing about tea, the whole tea time and shit, you know what makes it make a whole lot more sense? They have fucking cookies and cake and shit, and biscuits and jelly
true.
and it's not just you can fucking sit down with a cup of warm tea. You fucking sit down have some cakes and tea and shit. I don't know how much they actually do that, but just talking about tea time, blah blah blah, stereotypical. Dude, that shit sounds awesome.
Yeah. See, the thing is, one of the main reasons I didn't drink tea for most of my life was because of Al Bundy. So I remember he was like, it's Americans don't drink tea, we drink coffee. I'm like, damn right. We don't drink wine, we drink beer. I'm like, that's right. That's the other reason I drink wine for years too. All because of Al Bundy, who's one of my heroes. A man, Not a lot of those these days, but we'll talk about that another time. All right, man, let's get to your questions, people. All right, so what up?
Before we start with the questions, we have a contest.
Damn, see, Carlos is more on top of this fucking contest than I am, people. This shit is crazy. All right, you know what?
What's going on, man?
Yeah, go ahead, Carlos. Tell them what's going on, man, because I'm still setting up.
We are giving away a brand new physical copy of God of War for the PS4.
Oh.
Not the old one, not Chains of Olympus, the new God of War for the PS4 that comes out in 420, I believe. So we posted a video on Friday morning on how to enter the contest to get the game, and if you just follow the rules, you'd be able to enter yourself to the contest, and hopefully you get the game. We will be announcing a winner on this Thursday on Throwdown episode 179. So make sure if you enter the contest to check that show to make sure that you were the winner.
Yeah, and here's the thing: we're gonna announce the winner that day, right on that time. But we probably already would have selected the winner an hour beforehand, and already would have shipped I'm saying, shipped it to you and all that. Actually, it's not. We'll work that out because I think we're gonna contact the person even before we announce it. Might be better that way. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we have to pre-order the game. So hopefully we can get it shipped to you the day the game comes out.
Yeah, that's the goal. We want you to have the game on the day of. That's why we're doing the cutoff point of Thursday, so we could get your address and ship you the game.
Yep.
Yeah, man. So yeah, good shit. So we'll probably refer to that again at the end of the show. Man, yo, I could just say this. I've been playing the game, and I want to talk about it, but I have to hold my tongue, All right, man. Let's get into it, man. Megaforce 123. So his first question is, this is an interesting one. I didn't even know about this shit. All right. Is Square Enix sending Tomb Raider out to die again? The new Tomb Raider drops a week before Spider-Man and a month before Red Dead Redemption. I can't think of a more poorly managed major IP. They made the last one a time exclusive to the console with the smallest install base, and now they're sandwiching the new game between arguably the two biggest games of this year. I did not know this shit. That's fucking crazy, bro.
I don't think. Here's what I think they'll do. They made this announcement now, and as it gets closer, and they see the hype now, they think they must not think Spider-Man is much of a threat or in the same sphere that Red Dead. Everyone is avoiding Red Dead too, so they're like, oh, we launched before. But they're stupid because, yes, Spider-Man is a threat and it will have crossover. And as we get past E3, they're going to realize it. They're going to delay the game, or they're really going to step in it, right? That's the only two options. They're really going to fuck themselves over unless they delay it.
Yeah,
That's
like
what I think.
yeah, no, they need to delay this shit until spring. I'm sorry. This rate, what is it? September 7th. So the week after that, was it the 14th? Yeah, no, you're done. You're done. You're dead. You're dead on the vine. No one's gonna buy Tomb Raider.
Especially on PlayStation.
Yeah,
That's like, I mean, Xbox people still have. I mean, they can't get Spider-Man, so they might be able to like hype up Tomb Raider because it's like a game that's coming out for them as well.
yeah.
But man, yeah, that
Yeah,
did hard. Like, it's
Let's be honest here. Look, Shawan is saying that people on Xbox could buy because they don't have Spider-Man. True, but these guys didn't buy the other Tomb Raider when it was only on Xbox.
right. And also, we don't know Xbox's holiday schedule. We don't know what if they say Crackdown in September, right?
Yeah,
Then Xbox guys can gravitate to that. Then Tomb Raider is doubly screwed, right? If you have an Xbox exclusive launching before Red Dead and a PlayStation exclusive in Spider-Man, what would they do? That they didn't have to delay. But I think right now it's a bad idea. They're only thinking that Red Dead is the threat. And
yeah.
that's the only thing I could see. And as we get past E3 and they see the hype for Spider-Man, they're gonna have to change that.
Yeah, it's like they're watching the threat in front of them. They're backing up, and it's like, yo, look behind you, man. You know? Oh, that is
It's coming up behind you.
Yeah, it's like, oh my
And not
God.
to mention, we don't know what Microsoft has plans because they could very well drop
Crackdown.
Crackdown or something right
have to
after
have
that,
something, Chris.
right? Huh?
They have to have something.
They have to have something. And again, I think everybody wants to stay out of Rockstar's way. That seems to be what's happening. So if they push Crackdown, it won't be November because, like, again, people will be on Red Dead, so they'll push it into September. Even late September would be better. Then Tomb Raider will be sandwiched between Spider-Man, Crackdown, and Red Dead.
Oh my
right?
God.
So that'd be ridiculous. I think it'll be a foolish decision. So watch after E3 that date changes.
Yeah, it's like, they're gonna say some bullshit too. It's like, oh, we needed more time to develop blah blah blah. Like, no, you needed to get the fuck away from your enemies. That's what you needed to do,
Yeah,
man.
you need some space, man.
Yeah, no.
I mean, we have 2 months, June and July. Nothing has been announced
Yeah.
for those 2 months. Nothing that I remember.
Yeah,
And we
Now here's the thing: dropping a game before it's done is a bad idea. That's what I'm saying. Afterwards, like spring's usually a good time to drop a game, or early or late winter, like February or something.
yeah, like Phantom Vash said, Call of Duty and Battlefield are launching in October.
Yeah,
So-
no, you can't do this, Square Enix. What the fuck are you doing, man? Wow. All right, so yeah, that's crazy. I'm glad he asked this question. I didn't even know about that shit. That's nuts.
Yeah, thanks. Because I didn't know that either, but that's the only thing I can see. They only think the threat is Red Dead.
Yeah,
They're not looking behind them.
it's crazy. Brett, thoughts?
I think it's a stupid move, and I think I agree. They're gonna delay it.
Yeah, they're gonna have to. This is just
Watch.
suicide.
After E3, watch.
Yeah. All right. Next. Okay. G Megaverse, I have to slightly apologize to you because you asked us, what are some of our unpopular gaming opinions. We've answered this too many times on this show, so just refer to some of the past episodes for that. All right.
I say something unpopular every week.
Yeah, pretty much. Just listen to whatever Brett says. All right. So next up here, my man Phantom Vash. He is back, people. He's on, and he's in. Oh, hold on. Shawan Watson, man. Thank you for the super chat, brother.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, he goes, yo, Chris, we need them charts. Don't worry, bro. They're coming. They're coming.
They're coming, right? Like I said, April 26th and 27th. I'm going to pay attention to all three investor conferences. That's when they're going to release the reports, right? So I will have those either ready for Sunday, like a Throwdown Your Question, or I could wait till next week. You guys decide. If you ask me a question, I'll prepare it for that Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Again, people love these fucking charts. I love them too. All right, here we go. Timestamp. Okay, Phantom Vash. What are some Spider-Man suits you would like to see included in Spider-Man for PS4?
Oh, that's easy. Like you put in the black costume. You put in the armored spider, that Spider-Verse guy. Yeah, you put in that one. Not Iron Spider, but you could do Iron Spider. I don't really like that costume, but
what about the
that.
Iron Spider outfit or Metal Spider from Web of Spider-Man? Remember from back in the day?
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
the one that's cool. That I like.
Yeah,
The
the
Joker
silver
Star
one.
Iron Spider, I'm not too keen on, but that could be in the game. Also, I don't know if they want to do this, but you could make you could put him in the symbiote suit, right?
Ooh.
And
Can
like
we
the
get
original black outfit, like not
Yeah.
the replacement one, you know,
Yeah,
the
no,
one
fuck
that's
that.
alive before it became
Yes.
Venom. You know,
Yes. Yeah,
I'd be
do
down with that.
do that. You know what? Even though it makes no sense, Spider-Man 2099 costume.
Thank you.
You
I was
know,
waiting
yeah,
for
yeah.
somebody to say that.
yeah.
No, that is a cool suit.
Yeah. Both of them, by the way, both of them, the original one, the classic one, and the new one, because they both look hot. You know.
They're both cool. Put in Ben Riley Scarlet Spider with the
With the
hoodie.
hoodie and shit.
Yeah, the hoodie.
Ooh,
You know what
what about the Spider-Man suit that he had after he dropped the hoodie? Like he had that big giant. As a matter of fact, it looks like the Spider-Man suit from the game, only with a black spider instead of a white one on his chest. Remember that one? It was like
Yeah.
right after the clone or during the Clone Saga. Clone Saga was too fucking long, but that's a whole other story. But it was that outfit where Peter Parker got replaced by Ben Riley. He had this awesome looking suit and shit. Do that one too.
Did
I'm
that
already
one.
happy with Punk Rock Spider-Man.
Okay, yeah, with the spikes and the jacket and shit.
Yeah, dude, he's got spiked mohawk and a jean vest. Like, how do you not? How is that not fucking on like Converse? Like, come on.
Yeah, hold
How
on.
do you not love that?
Yeah, Kyle just fucked me up right now. Chris, Cosmic Spider-Man. Remember that shit?
Oh, Captain Universe Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
put that.
you
Yeah,
know.
throw him in there. Yeah, shit, that was cool. Trying to think what else.
What about that suit that? So I'm thinking about the movies. The first movie when he had that shitty ass suit when he went into the ring.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like that'll be funny.
Oh, you know what? You know what? Throw in the Fantastic Four outfit with the paper bag on his head. And his
Yes.
bare feet. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, do that. You could have a bunch of shit, man.
Yeah.
Sony, if you're listening, we give you ideas, man. Joey Salas, a fan of Vash, says that supposedly you start the game with the classic suit. You don't get the white Spider-Man suit until later in the story. That's cool. Hey, what's going on, Miguel? What's going on, everybody? Sar is great. What's going on, people? All right, next question. Okay, what are your thoughts on the rumor that From Software Shadows Die Twice is supposedly a spiritual successor to Kuon? Kuon was a survival horror game made by From Software for the PS2 in 2004. This upcoming spiritual sequel is going to be an open world game with horror elements that takes place in ancient Japan. From Software is also essentially treating this as a new entry in the series in the same vein as how Demon Souls was seen as a new entry for Kingsfield. Chris, why don't you answer this one since you have knowledge in From Software and YouTube, Brett?
All right. Kuon is a survival horror game, but it is very slow and it is not very good. So a sequel to that game, unless they completely fucking change it, would be terrible, in my opinion. Like I think that's a terrible idea. Unless you make it more like Bloodborne and change the controls and everything, because that was a clunky old game with fixed cameras and all that shit back in like old Resident Evil days. You can't bring that back, so they'd have to revamp that whole game to make it good. And it's very steeped in like Japanese culture and that kind of horror stuff. So I don't know if that would go over well, like because like with Dark Souls and Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Kingsfield, it's not just focused in Japanese culture. It's like an amalgam of all this like medieval European and all this influence put into it, right? Especially with you look at Bloodborne and stuff.
Yeah.
But Kuon is very much a Japanese game, like 110%. So I don't know if that would have the appeal like any of the Souls games had. I doubt it. If you ever play the first game, you would see what I mean immediately. It was not good.
Also, I mean, From did some good stuff, but primarily the stuff that worked was Tenchu and essentially Souls series games. So I think they've kind of learned what works and what doesn't, and from what I've seen of them in the last, I don't know, 7 to 8 years, is they kind of pander towards that. Even Bloodborne it's not a Souls game. Yeah, it's a Souls game. So I don't see them really branching out, being like, let's take this thing that wasn't very successful and try and give it a treatment that makes it more appealing, other than giving it a Souls type feel. Like, they know what they're good at. They continue to be the best at it. Nobody can touch them at the thing that they're best at. There's not really any incentive for them to change horribly. Yes, they're going to do they finished the Dark Souls universe because they were done with that narrative, but they showed us with Bloodborne that they consider anything that kind of plays similarly or has a similar kind of vibe or feeling to kind of be in the same realm of games. So how do I put this? Basically, they can end the narrative of Dark Souls, start with something new that's not even Bloodborne. Maybe it's a little bit more stealth involved. Maybe it's a little bit more something involved. But, you know, that's like asking what kind of cheeseburger is it going to be. You know, you're at least getting a cheeseburger. You're still going to get a Souls game. And I really strongly feel this way.
Well, I don't know, because Bloodborne didn't have a pedigree and Kuon does. Like from made this game years ago on PS2. It's an old PS2 game.
Yeah, but they also made Armored Core, and I don't really see them going back to that.
Yeah, but Armored Core wasn't Kingsfield, right? They were two totally different games and they played totally different, right?
No, right.
So,
and Kingsfield was successful and Armored Core wasn't. And
well,
Kingsfield...
not so much. Not here. Not here. Armored Core was more successful here than Kingsfield. Kingsfield wasn't that successful here in the West.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, they kind of disguised it as something else, and then it blew up, right? It became Demon Souls. But the gameplay of that stuff came from, I believe, the Ancient City. That Kingsfield game was sort of with the 3D, and because Kingsfield used to be first person, like you are just an arm with a sword in it, right? Like that, it evolved from that in Ancient City to third person and all your stats and the different weapons. So that became Demon Souls, right? It evolved from the pedigree of Kingsfield evolved into Souls and evolved into what it is now. But Kuon is not that. Kuon is Resident Evil with Japanese folklore steeped in it, right? So that's a completely different thing. And I don't know if you take that and try to plop Bloodborne's like mechanics in and put that in there, if it works. Or if that's what they're going to do at all. I have no idea.
Well, that's what I'm saying is I don't think... Do you think they're really going to... Because as much as I love them, they still got a lot of help on their engine, and they've been perfecting it and building it for a while. Do you think they're just going to pull this thing out of left field randomly? Or, I mean, maybe?
Well, like I said, they would have to do something different because Kuon doesn't work. It was a fixed camera, like Resident Evil 1 style game, right? You can't do that anymore. So they could do it like Souls and Bloodborne, but the appeal of those games is the deep lore, and I don't feel like Kuon had that because it's just narrowly focused in like Japanese horror and medieval folklore. So I don't know if that would carry over. I think unless they do something radically different.
Yeah.
All right, I think
I think Bloodborne too.
Yeah, who knows? But it's in. So this game is coming though. That's all we know for now. But we'll see. I have absolutely no idea what the fuck a Kuon was. By the way, I'm like, let me let these guys handle that shit.
I give
never heard of this.
Kristen had it, and I watched her play it, and I tried it a little bit. It is clunky and like it was terrible, and she got really pissed off with it. Actually,
man, yeah, those kind of games don't work anymore, man. They really don't. Especially like super Japanesey ones like that. That's not gonna work.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on, man. So this one is from Warlock9, who is not a name I'm familiar with. So welcome to the show, man. So his question is, it's an interesting one too. What do you say to those criticizing Sony for pushing all their big first-party games in the same visual direction, meaning realistic, story-driven with mixed fighting and a real-time events, limited or no online and over-the-shoulder perspective like Uncharted, Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, and now God of War and Spider-Man? Interesting. Kind of a little bit all over the place there, but I haven't really heard anybody making these criticisms, to be honest. I definitely heard them say, like, Sony is making the same type of game now. They're making Last of Us type of games, but the visual quality, I haven't heard that criticism, but I have heard the latter portion of the criticism that Sony's making a specific type of game. And I'm not going to say they're not. They definitely are. You know, they know what works for them. So I definitely understand. It's kind of like, the same thing Ubisoft gets. Like, they're like, oh, Ubisoft's making the same type of game now. I'm like, yeah, I could kind of see that. Sony, you know, very much story driven type of, you know, AAA studio out there. You know, I mean, they have their smaller stuff too, but that's what they're known for, and that's what makes them successful. So they're going to keep on pushing that. But so I could understand.
I've complained about this,
about the art style.
Yeah, about how everything looks the same. All the protagonists look. I mean, it's been bundled with other things like art style is the same. The protagonist could be interchangeable with anybody else. The world is very generic, and the gameplay is just the same old shit that we've had over and over again. And I've said that about many games.
Yeah, but remember, like, we're talking about, like, most people. You're like one guy saying that. It's true. You have said it though. Although I disagree. I'm like, you can't just plop Nathan Drake into the world of Horizon Zero Dawn and Halo into Uncharted and have it work. You know,
put him in different clothes. Yeah, you absolutely could.
No, you can't, because Nathan Drake's gonna be like, "What the fuck am I doing with all these dinosaurs?" You know.
Well, but you wouldn't be able to tell from the art style. Like if you took Nathan Drake and photoshopped him into a forest scene from Horizon Zero Dawn, you would not be able to tell that wasn't from.
Well, he would have to be wearing like the armor of that world. But I see what you're saying now. But I'm like, if you plop Aloy into an Uncharted game as she is, people are gonna be like, why the fuck are you wearing that shit?
Right, or you plopped her into God of War. You know,
but we're not talking about costume design. We're talking about art style.
Yeah, no, but the art style. Yeah, because you know, this is something I've always said, right? If you try to make every game look realistic, every game's gonna look the same. But you can't really fault Sony for that. Everybody's trying to make their games look realistic, you know, for the most part. So I don't really see that as a valid criticism. That's where games are going, you know.
Sea of Thieves isn't. Fortnite isn't.
Yeah, those games aren't, but those aren't like, actually no, they are AAA games.
Yeah, but you can get a character from Sea of Thieves and put it in Horizon Zero Dawn. You can put Aloy on. You can put Aloy on that ship.
No, what? No, you can't.
I'm using your argument for Uncharted.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, if you put any of those characters, if you tried to game swap any of the Sea of Thieves characters into another game, you'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with that character? And if you tried to put any other realistic character in the Sea of Thieves world, they look really out of place.
But, I mean, Aloy, it doesn't, like, the characters in what's it called? In Horizon,
Aloy looks realistic, the same way Nathan Drake looks realistic.
Her face looks realistic, but everything else, like, she doesn't really...
No, Brett's actually right about that. It is a very realistic, highly detailed type of game. You know,
you're talking about the accoutrements that come along with it. You're talking about world design. You're talking about costume and character design. Those things are different. Yes, like Aloy's clothes don't belong in the God of War world, and you know, God of War would look weird in the Nathan Drake world. Yes, in their clothing and their. You know, but like their physique, their body shape, their relative size, the way that the visuals of the game are done, they all look the same. They're all done in the same art style, as opposed to you know, Fortnite, like I said, Sea of Thieves, Zelda, Jackrabbit Radio, even Dragon Ball Z Fighters. Those are all different art styles than the photorealism that is the mainstream standard of most AAA games, especially on PlayStation, because Xbox is not as guilty as that. Sunset Overdrive looks completely different.
So you're saying because the faces have like sort of kind of semi-photorealistic features that they're all the same art style? He's
not talking about just the faces. He's talking about even the bodies too. The bodies are realistically proportioned. The world is like made to look realistic. He's talking about the art style itself, not just like, hey, they have real looking faces. It's like the entire thing. And he's right about that. He's 100% right about that. But the thing is, every big third party game looks like that too, because everybody's trying to be realistic. Understand?
Most of them do, yes, and I would agree with that.
Yeah. So, but again, my thing is, I don't think you could lobby that complaint about to Sony. Why not lobby it at every major game developer out there? Because they all do it.
Because Microsoft is honestly better at releasing games that don't look like that. I mean, they fucking.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?
I mean, you could give credit to Blizzard and Valve. I mean, couldn't you take characters from Team Fortress 2 and stick them in Sea of Thieves?
Yeah, they'll work. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll work. It's like,
yeah, you can.
You could. Absolutely. They look goofy and cartoony like that shit.
Yep.
It could easily fit in there. So that argument, I could blow up your spot right there. Fortnite, Overwatch. Team Fortress 2.
Seriously.
Yep.
Yeah, I completely agree with Chris. You could stick
I wish Manny was here because he would immediately
No, he wouldn't. He would agree with us too. You could stick all those characters in the same game and they'll look the same, you know?
No, they wouldn't. I can tell the difference as an artist immediately. Immediately, Overwatch is inspired by a kind of CGI anime type thing.
No, Overwatch, no. But if you take something like, you know, Team Fortress and Sea of Thieves, they have that same kind of art style. Overwatch, I'll give you, because their bodies are betterly, you know, atomically correct. But
Yeah,
no.
I would say
something like Battleborn then. Take Battleborn to throw.
Battleborn's another one, yeah.
Yeah, where they're exaggerated and cartoony, so they would fit in each other's overall style, you know, and what they all have something in common. They're all multiplayer games, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like, is that a bad direction to move in? Has anyone complained about it? Not really.
Yeah, so
you guys went all over the place, tripping over yourselves to talk about the art direction in Persona and how satisfying it was and how refreshing it was and how awesome it was, even down to the menus.
Who said it was refreshing?
All of you guys. You said it was
no,
awesome.
No, wait, let Brett make his point. Go ahead, because I'm ready about to squash this, but go ahead.
You were even talking about the menu design.
Yeah.
So why do you notice good art direction, but not criticize a game for not having good, memorable art direction?
Because most games don't have memorable art direction. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to criticize every game, like 95% of the games under the sun.
And that's exactly what the spirit of this question is that they're criticizing the fact that every game, 95% of the games under the sun, share the same art style.
No, but they're specifically going after Sony. I'm saying that's not fair. You need to go after every game, because most games look like that. That's what I'm trying to get at, understand?
I see what you're saying, and I feel like we've said this from the opposite direction before. I feel like we've said that Sony is known for realistic first-person narrative games, and if you say that Sony is known for, realistic narrative-driven games, and if you say that Sony is known for realistic narrative-driven single-player games, that's what I meant. Then you're kind of already touching on the fact that, generally speaking, a Sony game has this realism, cinematic, narrative vibe to it. And so if you admit that Sony does that more, you can't...
I don't agree that Sony does it more. I think they do it just as much as everybody else.
What first-party cartoony Sony games are there?
Knack.
Knack, on Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter.
Are any of these games still really being made?
But they're made. Your question was,
Clank,
no, but we're talking about modern days. We're talking about, but I'm talking about
Life of the Tiger.
Yeah, but if you take games from Ubisoft and Activision and EA, they all have that same semi-realistic look that every Sony game does. So that's what my point is, and we're going in circles now. You can't criticize Sony for doing the same shit every other developer is doing.
Okay, and that's my thing, and that's where I'm getting a little bit frustrated. You were saying Sony and everybody else does this a whole bunch.
Yes.
But you're not saying the other part, that Microsoft tends to do it a little less.
I disagree with that. I think Microsoft does it just as much as Sony, just as much as Ubisoft, just as much as EA, just as much as everybody else. I completely disagree with that.
You don't think Microsoft comes out with more cartoony or artistically experimental games these days?
No.
You say only Sea of Thieves, like
yes,
Gears of War is a cartoony experimental game. Halo is a cartoony experimental game.
Forza.
Cuphead isn't a Microsoft game. They just bought
It's a Microsoft exclusive. You got it.
We're talking about first parties here, man.
Yeah. If you're gonna talk, you have to be consistent, right? You have to talk about first party. 343 Studios is Microsoft. The Coalition is Microsoft. They don't make
Studio MDH
cartoony experimental games. They're making realistic, just like Tony said. Gears of War, everything is pushing realism. Halo is pushing it, like it's all future looking, but everything looks nice and beautiful. I'm playing Far Cry 5 right now. It's like that could be Montana. I don't know. It looks real to me. It looks good. Like everybody's. Not everybody, but a majority of stuff is pushing in that direction. It's very, very rare you get a deviation from it, where Sea of Thieves goes in a different direction, or you'll get like Overwatch, which I was shocked it looked the way it did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like that,
and this is why a game like Persona stood out so much, because you don't really see games like major AAA games that look like that. Granted, Persona is not a first-party game either, but the reason that game stood out is because every game is going in. And the thing is, it's not just a new thing, by the way. This has been going on for like last 20 years in the industry, you know, realism. You know, and I understand that because, you know, to the layman person, that's what they look at. That to them, that's graphics. Realism is graphics. You know,
I mean, that's one of the major reasons why we hyped the hell out of Cuphead.
Yeah, because it didn't look like any other game out there. You know, but everybody's doing this shit. It's not just Sony. You know. Anyway, I hope that answers the question. So we will move on to Mr. Black Metal Gamer. All right. The first one is, what retro console had your favorite sound effects / music style as far as the MIDI tracks or chipset? Very good question.
Which had the best? Well, Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that was like the de facto one, like Super Nintendo.
Same.
Yeah, I mean Super Nintendo, by the way, whose audio system was made by Sony.
Yes.
And that's why it sounded so good. You had the music was amazing. That's the music it was able to replicate. I mean, even the 32X version of Doom and the Super Nintendo version. The Super Nintendo version has better music in Doom than the 32X port of it.
Yes.
Like you had to wait till PS1 when they could actually put real tracks on a CD to get better music. You know.
Yeah, by the way, when we're talking about retro console, I think we're talking specifically about everything before CDs were invented, right?
Right. Yeah. So yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, it Genesis did not have good sound or MIDI. It was terrible.
Here's the thing. I have like a certain like, you know, a certain love for that Genesis sound, but I will be the first to tell you, yeah, Super Nintendo killed it. Easily killed it. You know, and that's the thing about both of those systems. If you hear any game from them, you'll instantly know it's from either the Genesis or Super Nintendo. Instantly, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Super Nintendo. That's not even like a question here. That one, like top of the food chain right there. Even a 32X can hang.
Yeah,
you know?
everything before the Super Nintendo was pretty bad compared to it.
Yeah, let's just be honest. All right, I don't think we need to go further into that one. That was an easy one. So next question is, what games had the worst start / pacing in the beginning until they started actually getting going at the proper pace later on?
What game had bad
So basically, yeah, what game really started off slow and then like it picked up later on?
Shit. That's a tough one.
Uncharted 4. I don't know. I felt when I was playing it, and I remember talking to Tony about this. I started Uncharted 4 when it came out. What was it, 2016? I think.
Yeah,
early 2016. Yeah. And I played it for a little bit and kind of just didn't really get into it until like maybe a year and a half later, where I just continued the game and it just picked up for me. And it's like, oh wow, everything is just moving at a better pace than I was playing it beforehand. So I think Uncharted 4 was one of them for me.
This is a tough one for me, man.
Yeah.
Like
this is hard.
Yeah, I don't know. Go ahead.
I know games that like the pacing was off. You know, I mean, Metal Gear Solid 2 started really strong, and then like went to slow because with Raiden you sort of feel like you're playing 1 all over again until you figure out what's going on. But that's not starting slow. It started great and then it like dipped and then it came back up. I'm trying to think of another game that did that. And then Devil May Cry 4 started strong and then halfway through it sucked ass.
Yeah.
So it's like shit.
Facts. All right. What about
you
you?
saying
Yeah.
Devil May Cry 4 is the reverse, you said?
No, it started and then halfway through when you you switch characters.
Yeah, it starts repeating itself.
I agree with that.
Yeah. What about you guys in the chat? What do you think, man? I'm really having a hard time with this. I looked at this question hours ago and I still can't come up with a fucking answer. You know?
Shit. Yeah, I don't know. I would say like the first Mass Effect a little bit. Not really though.
Even the beginning was fire though. Let's just be honest. When you land on that planet, you see all that shit happening.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm like shit because 2 started off so goddamn strong, you know. So it's like comparing it, but yeah.
Oh, also, Dragon Age Origins was a little slow off the boot. Took you about 4 good hours to really get the game going. And I got an even better one. I'm not sure if any of you played Last Remnant. That game was amazing, but it took like 20 hours to fully open up the point. Because the whole point of the game was that you had parties, right? Like, but instead of parties, each party member was a party. So you started off the game playing it like a traditional RPG where you had like 4 party members, right? And then slowly you got up to like 8, and you could split them into teams of 2, and so you could have like a sword attack and a healing mage, both on one squad. So then you could tell the party as a whole to either attack with the sword or heal with your mage. So basically, adding party members was like swapping in and out attributes. And so it was a fun game, but it started off like a very traditional RPG, and then by about 20 hours in, you were controlling 40 characters across the board and you were controlling squads of 5. So you set this to attack, and all 5 of these guys attack. So it really got super cool later on, but it took a minute for the shtick or the gimmick of you control a squad, not just a single character, to really come to fruition.
Yeah, when you mentioned that game, you immediately made me think of this one. Love it or hate it, this game suffers completely from this, and that's fucking Final Fantasy 13.
I didn't want to say it, but yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I mentioned
Yes.
love it or hate it, because I know I hate it, and I know Tony loves it.
I don't love it. I like it a lot. Let's bring it
Like
down
it or
a
hate
little.
it.
Yeah. No, you're right. That's one. But the thing is, here's the reason I didn't want to go into, because I still like that beginning shit too. You know?
Well, the beginning's nice, but then it's like it gets to a point where you're just going through corridors nonstop, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, they're funneling you and shit. By the way, Phantom Vash says Persona 4. It takes a little while for that one to really get going. A lot of JRPGs back in the day used to do that too. They took a while to get going, but once they did, like I remember Xenosaga, that took forever, man. You know?
7 was like, that's why 7 was such a big deal, is because like as soon as you played it, you were just thrown into the middle of shit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just right to the action. You know?
Parasite Eve took a while to launch, or to get to full stride, if I remember correctly.
See, I never put. Manny would know that one.
Yeah, he would know that one. I never played that shit either. But yeah, you know, none of the guys in the comments said anything. So Xenogears didn't. Yeah, I never played Xenogears, but I heard that's like the godly game. Like the guys who like that game, they love that fucking game.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Oh,
right.
man, someone needs to love it.
Yeah, right. Somebody does.
Oh, so-
Oh, no hate on Xenogears, man. All right, Digital Tiger. By the way, since we have a little bit of time, I want to address something he said to us, man. But I'll do that after we answer his questions. All right, so the first one is, why do quote unquote neutral gamers and Xbox? Hold on a second, making sure I wasn't muted here. All right, okay. Why do quote unquote neutral gamers and Xbox always play tit for tat when Xbox One gets negative feedback for its gaming practices? For example, when Sea of Thieves launched as a half-ass game with a bodiless Kraken, the scapegoat was, well, look at No Man's Sky. For Xbox One has no games, the scapegoat is PS4 doesn't have backwards compatibility, or PS4 doesn't allow you to change your PSN ID. If you quote-unquote neutral gamers and Xbox expect Microsoft to get better, then stand up and hold them accountable for their bullshit. What are your thoughts? Okay.
Tell us how you really feel, man.
How you really feel, bro.
Yeah, I wouldn't be sorry, but you have a good point. Like, if you want change, you can't say, but the other guy does this. Like I've said that before too. Like you
I agree.
definitely making false equivalents or comparisons. Like, well, you know, it's like our game doesn't do this and your game doesn't do that. Yeah, so nothing changes,
Whoa,
right?
right,
Like, well, they
chill out,
can get away
son.
with it.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris, say that
Damn it,
again.
I
Man.
was muted.
No, you weren't. Go ahead, Chris, say that again.
Yeah, so making like false equivalents or comparison to apologize for your game being deficient or anything on that's on the Xbox side being deficient is not helpful. Yeah, holding them accountable and demanding that stuff is the only way you're going to get change. You're going to cause them to improve, because if you apologize for them, or if the community in general does that and just goes, it's fine because Sony does this or Nintendo does that, then yeah, they're not going to change it. Feel our customers are fine with that, then nothing changes. So he's right. Like it's a lot angrier than I would say that. I was like, oh shit, okay, well, see, and Sea of Thieves. I don't know. We've gotten questions before where they compare it to No Man's Sky. I don't see much of the comparison at all to that. to that game. First of all, No Man's Sky is 0 multiplayer, despite what Sean Murray said when he was going around lying his ass off. There's a 0. I can't team up with 4 guys and go sail the space skies, do any of that shit. So no, it's not the same thing. And as for other features and stuff, yes, if Microsoft does something wrong, or they underdeliver or whatever, you have to absolutely question what are they doing, why are they doing it, and force them to be transparent.
Yeah, I mean, here's a funny thing that I've been noticing on my timeline. There's a little bit of an Xbox or Xbot. Let's be real; these are just fanboys. Xbot civil war going on, right? Basically, guys from podcasts who shall not be named are fighting with each other because some of these guys have taken the red pill and woken the fuck up, about what's going on with Microsoft now, and the other guys who are like, true blue to Microsoft or true green to Microsoft, they're getting mad. It's like, you're not being loyal to the brand, bro. Crazy shit. But it's like, hey, I'm not going to be loyal to something that's not giving me any fucking games. I'm like, you guys are finally waking up. Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't be loyal to a brand. And I got to say, because I jumped and started yelling about this while I was on mute, this is classic whataboutism. And whataboutism is a false arguing tactic. It doesn't actually help to bring the discussion any further. It just basically mires everybody down in a bog. And the problem with that is when you homogenize things, you get an average, right? So if you're looking across all of video games, somewhere there's a game guilty of pretty much every sin. And you can point to that. And yeah, I guess technically you're right. This game does it too, or that game doesn't have the same thing, and blah de blah, but that doesn't really help any of us, and that just actually shuts down discussion. And that's just a defensive tactic that people often use when they're backed into a corner. You're not actually trying to make a point. You're just trying to break everybody else down to the same level, so you kind of end the discussion with, well, I guess everybody's just fucked up.
Yeah.
So and the funny thing is, you see it all over the place. You see it in personal arguments, you see it in politics, you see it in gaming all the fucking time. It's not a new concept, but if you're asking why do people come back with, well, this doesn't have this, or why do they come back with something negative instead of responding to the thing you say, it's because they don't have a response to the thing you say. They're just trying to justify the shitty actions of one company by lieu of another company having done it before. And that leads us just all down a slippery slope of everything getting worse and nobody being able to talk about it. So if you find yourself in that kind of discussion, don't take the straw man bait. Continue on, focus on the question that you asked, and double down and ask it again in a different way. Seek the answer that you originally sought, because somebody's trying to divert you.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing. It's like, hey, you're not supposed to excuse bad behavior with worse behavior, or in this case, equal behavior. It's like, dude, it's all bad behavior. You got to call it out, and especially if you want good games on your shit, you got to call it out. You can't just be loyal to the brand, because the brand has to be loyal to you. It doesn't work the other way around, man. This isn't a fucking sports team,
But Sony, man.
But Sony, it's crazy, man.
No, but we call out when any of the three does anything wrong. We call it out. Like when they who was it? Was it Fortnite that exposed you can't have crossplay? It's just Sony's being dicks and they don't allow it, right? So when they were like, "Oh, we can't do Rocket League," yeah, you can. You just don't want to. Like, just admit it. Just man up to it. And if a company does something shitty, call them out on it. We called out Sony. Other people did too. It's nothing like, oh, the brand Sony, they can do nothing wrong. That's a stupid argument,
Yeah, no, it's stupid, and like like we said, it doesn't get you anywhere. But fanboys are fanboys. All right. The next one is this is an interesting question, and I don't think he's gonna like my answer, but how we do on Throwdown, man. I keep it real. All right. Of the big three consoles, PS4, Switch, and Xbox One, which two would you eliminate and replace with two new gaming company/developer consoles? For example, I would keep PS4 and add Ubisoft and Rockstar consoles. Note, all games made by publisher, made or published by Ubisoft and EA individually will become console exclusives for their respective newer consoles. All consoles will continue to get the remainder of multi-plats from all other companies. Also, for the newer consoles, all games will be minimum 1080p 60 frames a second on dedicated servers. That is the hypothetical list of hypothetical questions right there, bro.
Yeah, I would never replace any of them with anything from EA. Like trusting EA I don't know. It would be
They'll-
like
They'll
like
call it the loot box.
Oh shit.
the loot.
That's
great.
fucking
That's good.
brilliant.
And Carlos wins the internet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you next week, everybody. Peace out.
I don't think we can follow that.
My God, no. Here's the thing. I'm sorry. This is. I don't know how to say this without sounding like an asshole. I'm not gonna go along with the premise because I don't think it's realistic, nor do I want it. I don't think it serves anybody to have a Rockstar console or an EA console or an Ubisoft console. I'm sorry.
What is the Rockstar console gonna do? It's gonna play third-party games and have one exclusive come out once every 5 years, or how is that gonna work?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Be fair. 8 years.
Okay, 8 years, yeah. So it's like the only company that I could think that could do better than Microsoft, Sony or PlayStation. I mean, Sony and Nintendo is maybe Valve, but that's about it.
Yeah, well, Steam
That's just maybe.
machines. We saw what happened when you try to introduce another console into the market. This shit didn't work. No, I'm sorry to say this. I know some of you guys will not like me saying this. You need Nintendo. You need Microsoft.
You
right?
need people like me.
You need them, man. Like Ubisoft. Ubisoft console will not do anything that anybody else isn't doing. You know, I don't know.
I'll answer the question, but I'll amplify what Tony said, that there's not another company that can do what Microsoft, Nintendo, or Sony's doing right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, just for the spirit of the question, so someone can answer it, I'll just say I'll get rid of Nintendo and Microsoft and have Valve replace one of them and have Blizzard replace the other.
Fuck that. I'm going to answer the question because this is all hypotheticals anyway, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I would get rid of. I'm going to be a little bit of an asshole though. I'm going to get rid of Microsoft. I'm going to keep Nintendo because they're integral to the industry. You keep Nintendo and Sony, and you bring Sega back, the real Sega, the old school Sega.
Oh, shit, that's awesome.
That's Tony's. Tony's been thinking about this for decades now, man.
Just bringing Xbox back to its roots, then.
Pretty much, because let's be honest. Let's be honest. The Xbox, the original Xbox, was the Dreamcast too. You know.
Yeah. No, totally. That's 100%.
And but here's the kicker: Microsoft puts their exclusives on Sega's console. There you go. There you go.
Some kind of weird poetic justice.
So so I know I only halfway answered your question, but you cannot just get rid of Nintendo. Nintendo, you know, as much bullshit as they do, as much as you know, all the crap we're giving them, you need them in the industry, man. You need that kind of weird other company doing weird shit, you know. And again, they've had so much history in the industry, you can't just get rid of them. But Microsoft, you don't really need them. Let's just be real here. Bring Sega back.
Yeah. Or you could the natural progression is Xbox becomes a service on PC and then Sega comes back.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, bring back Sega. Fuck that. The real Sega. You bring back Yuji Naka and fucking Yu Suzuki. Bring all those dudes back. Oh my motherfucking God. Anyway, Brett, go ahead. Brett's playing CSE.
Sorry, I'm mute. You know, I'm not really sure. I would probably agree with the Steam thing, but I've said that over and over again that Valve is the only developer I think that could handle their own console. I don't think there's a developer out there otherwise that I would necessarily trust it to.
Yeah. All right, I think we all answered this. We'll move on. Okay, let's address what he said to us. So, last week we were asked, you know, who was worst for their company in the last 4 years, if it was Iwata or Phil Spencer. And since we all agreed that Phil Spencer has not done anything, you know, really bad for Microsoft, we decided to make it Iwata versus, you know, Don Matrick, right? And he didn't like that very much. So he said, switching questions around to fit your neural narrative will hurt the integrity of this podcast. The man asked you about Phil, Fraud, Spencer, and Iwata. Answer the question as is. The audacity of you so-called anti-fanboys are filthy neutrals.
Wait, what? Who said this?
We did, apparently. We're the filthy neutrals. We're the anti-fanboys.
No, who asked this?
Digital Tiger. This isn't a question. This is a remark.
Neutrals?
Yeah. He said that in quotations. He's half joking, half being serious. He just basically, this is something I told Carlos, right? when you have the word neutral means something different in fanboy circles nowadays. Neutral means that you're actually shilling for one company, but you're pretending to be neutral, but you're fake, you know? This was first.
Didn't we give an appropriate reason why we disqualified him? Because he didn't actually do anything?
Yeah, here's the thing. You know, we're going to answer this isn't a question, but here's why we did. 2 reasons. Yes, because Phil Spencer hasn't, basically we said this. Phil Spencer was brought along to, you know, put out the fire, basically. So you can't really give grief to a man who's trying to fix a fucking mess he inherited. And 2, if we were to answer the question as is, as we said last week, it would take us 30 seconds. Because Phil Spencer hasn't done anything bad. Iwata did some fucked up shit again, so it would have been Iwata. But that wouldn't be a very good, you know. Like,
I think we said that at the beginning of the question, that it would be like, if we take the question as is, it would be Iwata because Phil Spencer hasn't done anything. But if we change the question to this, we can give you a more broad answer that's going to maybe take a little more time. We actually answered the question as is immediately, and then all agreed and moved on and changed the question. We're like, well, that wasn't enough discussion. You guys got to realize we're trying to vamp time here. We're trying to actually consume a certain amount so that we hit a mark on a podcast. So when we have a question like that just immediately falls flat in the water, a lot of times you're going to hear one of us jump in and try and save it by saying, okay, well, what about if we think about it this way? Because we assume that what you guys are tuning in for is discussion amongst us. So if we don't have that brought about by a question, then we'll try and augment the question to suit the fact that there needs to be some kind of discussion. But generally, we'll make a point of at least acknowledging the spirit of the original question and trying to stay on point. And in this case, we answered it right away.
Yeah.
Iwata.
Yeah.
It's a non-discussion.
Pretty much it. That Brett just said it right there. Like, if we were to give you the exact answer, which we did, 30 fucking seconds. And by the way, that question was asked to us by Mr. Wiz, who's in the comment section right now. You know what he says? It was my question, and he was not upset by the way we answered it. So even the guy who asked it isn't upset. He liked the way we answered it. You know, and the other guys in the chat are saying, yeah, you guys answer the fucking question. But again, we got to make things interesting. We got to make time for the podcast. So if we feel a question isn't going to lead us anywhere interesting, we'll word it around a little bit. Funny thing that we've done 178 episodes. This is the first time somebody's complained when we did that. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? You know, so we're trying to push a narrative. I think it may be the other way around, bro. But you know, all right, I'll leave it at that. But we did answer the question, bro. We did answer the question. All right. Speaking about Wiz, my man has a couple questions for us, man. So his first one is, have you seen that Spider-Man pre-order that has story missions that are obviously cut content? He goes, this is cancer. Oh, I got some things to say about this. Okay, here's the thing. How do you know it was cut content? You, like, basically, to me, cut content is, this game is finished, we're gonna cut that shit out so we could sell it later. Here's what we're okay. I'm gonna give you just the TLDR version of it. Basically, when game developers are making a game, they know what's gonna be in the main game and what's gonna be, you know, side shit that they're gonna sell you as DLC later, because they have a business to run here. They can't just put out the game and just call it a day. They need you to keep coming back, you know, months and months afterwards. So they need to have the other content down the line. And you can't just decide, hey, one day I'm gonna make a DLC for this shit and have it come out the next week. You gotta plan ahead, right? You gotta plan ahead. So this is why you make the core game, then you have the add-ons later on. You could do this a number of different ways and stuff, but generally that's how it is. So I don't really consider that, you know, cancerous, as you say. Microtransactions and that shit, you know, fucking loot boxes or whatever, that shit I'll give you. But this, like, you know, we're going to give you some DLC later, but we need time to plan for it. I don't really see that as a bad thing, you know, unless it like undermines the actual core game somehow, which I don't think it does in this case. So that's what's going on there, you know.
All right, I can't follow that up. I didn't even know about that. So
yeah, that's generally how. And by the way, I'm not just pulling that out of my ass. That's actually from developers I've talked to. That's what they told me. That's how these things work. You know,
there's a difference between planning content before final game release and finishing content before final game release.
Yeah.
Yeah, like chopping out content is something like Dead Space 3, where it's like the ending was that fucking DLC.
Yeah, like, okay, let's just be real. Capcom is guilty of this shit. Like, okay, if these characters, you're working on them, why are they already on the fucking disc? You know what I'm saying? Like, that kind of shit is sleazy, but this is the type of content where, okay, when the game drops, that content is not going to be ready. They need time to make it, understand? And again, they need to give you something 2 or 3 months down the line so it keeps sustain the game, understand? Yeah, I don't think we need to say. I pretty much answered it. Let's just move on. I answered the question. All right, moving on here. Okay, okay, we kind of touched on this on Thursday's show, so I'm glad he's asking us about it so we could fully go into it, just to expose the stupidity of it. All right, Blandrew, who is a Twitter user, claimed that Spider-Man games are oversaturated. Do you agree, and do you think this new game is like previous Spider-Man titles? I'm gonna let you guys go first because I got some shit to say. God damn, I got some shit to
hear
say.
what you got to say.
Fuck it, I'll go on. Okay, there's a couple things here. Okay, so how is a Spider-Man franchise going to be oversaturated when the last game was what, 5 years ago?
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. So, oversaturated is like Forza, where you get that shit every year. Call of Duty, FIFA, that's oversaturated. You get that shit. Mario games, any game with a Mario in it. You know what I'm saying? That's oversaturated. Spider-Man, yeah, if you were to go back 10 years, I could maybe give you that. You would kind of get a Spider-Man game every year. You haven't got a Spider-Man game in a long time, right? But here's the thing people aren't really talking about. They're like, why are people making such a big deal about this Spider-Man game? Why weren't they hyping up the ones from Activision? There's a couple of reasons that you're like conveniently looking over. One, this is a Sony first-party AAA game, right? Second of all, Spider-Man is probably at his like biggest zenith right now with the fucking Marvel movies coming out. And it's a fucking exclusive too. This is why this game, and it's almost forgot the most important part. Insomniac is making this fucking game. You have all these factors going on in there. This is why people are hyped up. Nobody gave a fuck about Activision's tie-in movie games. Nobody gave a fuck about those. This shit is totally different. This is, if you really think about it, people are hyped for this game the same reason they were for the Batman Arkham games. Those shits were not tied up to a movie. They were just independent games based on a character that are fucking icons. So that's why people are hyped. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm keeping it real right now. I'm keeping it 1,000% real. Blandrew, I like you, you're cool, but you're a fucking fanboy. The reason you're saying this shit is because this shit is not on Switch. If this was on Switch, you would say something completely different. Your whole tone would be changed right now, bro. You got to be honest with yourself here. If they said Spider-Man is exclusive to the Switch, you will shit your fucking pants. But because it's on Sony, no, you got to hate on it. Just like all these other people are hating on it. Let's just be real. And Tony's rant is over.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wouldn't count the movie tie-in games because those are just cash-ins. Like they generate the two Amazing Spider-Man games. They just churned out to take advantage of the movie, right? Activision goes to lowest bidder or whatever. That's all those movie tie-in games. I wouldn't count those. Like you'd count games like when did Shattered Dimensions or Web of Shadows come out? Like those games you'd have to count against this one, and those were years ago. Those were like PS2 games, right?
Exactly.
So I mean, it's years between Spider-Man games, so it's not oversaturated at all. Even like the Arkham games, I wouldn't consider that because they were all original. They were all doing their own thing. So yeah, I don't see his argument.
You know what it is? It's fanboy shit, man. It's just fanboyism,
And everything about the game is not everything, but most of the stuff in this game is completely different from the previous games. Like what, you get to swing around the city. That's like the only common ground.
Yo, they got Spider-Man in this. The same shit.
Yeah, and they got Spider-Man. Like the combat system is different. Most of the way you interact with I was watching some videos of how Spider-Man gets to sort of when he's swinging through the buildings, right, and then he's like running towards swinging towards a building. That moment, like he still gets to keep that momentum and like keeps it moving. So like stuff like the swinging stuff is different too. So it's like just a completely different game from anything that's ever come out. It's just happens to be a Spider-Man game where you can swing your web across New York City. That's a lot of the like things you can compare it to.
Yeah, and again, this isn't fucking Treyarch phoning it in just to make money at the end of the day. This is Insomniac, man. They're putting all the resources behind this game, bro.
Yeah, and would you be one of the people that say that Mario is a saturated game?
Here's the thing. I would say Mario himself is oversaturated, but the main Mario games, no, they're not. But then again, would he say that? I seriously doubt that shit. I would say that. Would he say that? I don't think he would.
Mm-hmm.
How many games did Mario appear in last year? Major games, right? His game. He was in the fucking the Ubisoft game. Like he was in fucking Mario Kart, obviously. Come on, man. You didn't say shit about that, did you?
Yeah, and like it's like we haven't gotten a real Spider-Man game in a while, so it's like it's hard to say that this is oversaturated. You might be saying you might be able to say that Spider-Man as a character is played out, or is oversaturated in popular culture. Maybe
I don't think he is. I think Tony's right. He's like more popular than ever because of the MCU stuff.
Oh yeah,
and the Sony tie-in movies. Yeah, but this is not a movie game. It's not a movie tie-in game. I think if you have a movie tie-in game, you have a real game based on it. The real game will probably be 100 times better. They made a movie tie-in game for Batman Begins. It was crap. Then you get the Arkham Asylum. That's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Yeah, we don't count Batman Begins. They're like, oh, Batman's oversaturated. No, you don't count that shit. It's just throwaway shit that they always do. You count the Arkham games. Count those are the actual games. So if you want to go way back, like what was the last real Spider-Man game? Was it Shattered Dimensions?
Shit, somebody in the fucking chat. Like, I think it was maybe Amazing Spider-Man 2. You know,
but I mean that's a tie-in game, right?
Yeah. Oh, you mean Shattered Dimensions is probably the last one.
The last one, yeah.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It's an original Spider-Man game. This is an original Spider-Man game. It's not based on anything. Just doing their own thing, just like the Arkham games.
Yeah. So come on, it's an original Spider-Man game. It has Spider-Man in it. It's Insomniac. People are fucking hype for good reason. You know. Come on now. All right. Just like okay, take every factor that you threw in there, but make it a Nintendo game. People would still be hyped up. You know, but again, I don't think Blandrew would be saying it would be oversaturated if it was a Nintendo exclusive.
Right.
I'm just saying.
If you had one of those, let's say you had a trailer, right? And it's one of those freaking what's that game that shoot ink in Microsoft?
Splatoon.
You had one of those Splatoon characters looking at something, right? And they zoom in into that freaking eyeball, and it's a fucking reflection of Spider-Man swinging through New York. You'd had people fucking fainting everywhere, man.
Yep. On that note, I please, I'm not going to do it because I'm not crazy like that. Somebody please go through Blandrew's Twitter feed, right? Actually, go to that date. What was his reaction to seeing that fucking symbol on Homegirl's eye? What was his reaction? I'm just saying. But you're right. If you would have had that exact same trailer, but just Spider-Man swinging over her eye, it would have been, remember that video where that one dude fainted? All of them would have fainted.
Yeah.
All right.
All of them would have fainted. Dude, they got Spider-Man in Smash. They'll bust their nuts right there. You know?
Yep.
It's crazy, man. All right, so yeah, just stop with the fanboy. Again, Blandrew, I like the dude. I have no problems with him, but sometimes the fanboyism a little too much, bro. But I like you. I still like you. Just make that clear. Hope I didn't come off as an asshole. I'm just being real, but tone it down, brother. All right, next up here, Mr. Robert Figartner. His question is, with all the amazing games that came out last year, like Horizon Zero Dawn, Yakuza 0, Resident Evil 7, Assassin's Creed Origins, etc., and amazing upcoming games like God of War, Spider-Man, Yakuza 6, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Metro Exodus, and so many others, why are so many people across the internet so negative on games? Whenever I click on a trailer to watch the game coverage, I see so many people in the comment section complaining about the most insignificant of things. Are too many gamers becoming too critical to enjoy playing games for what they are? Great fucking question, man.
I don't know if it's that or if there's just a really vocal minority where like fanboys jump into other like the other console and just like try to poison the well or try to shit on it, you know? And then those are the guys speaking up where everybody else is hyped, but they're not actively commenting on it. Like I usually don't pay attention to a lot of YouTube comments or trailers and stuff. Like I pay attention to how it makes me feel, and then I trust like these guys here, Tony, Brett, Manny, whatever, and like we'll talk amongst ourselves, you know. And you see how other people are, but usually those YouTube comments is just like a sewer. So I just usually don't fucking pay attention to that shit anyway. I think it's just guys trying to shit in the well. You know, either because they're pissed, like, you know, this fanboy bullshit. It's like, oh, you know, Sony's getting this, Microsoft's getting that, Nintendo's getting that, you know, it's like whatever. So I don't pay attention to that. usually real fans, like people who actually give a shit, are very often quiet. They very often are going to speak with their wallets and then talk about it later when they actually play it.
Yeah, put a pin on that because I'm a circle back to that exact point. By the way, Kush Daddy says it's because we're tired of overrated games that don't deliver. Can you name me some of these games? Because don't get me wrong, there definitely have been those. Remember last year we like, hey, this is the first time we're seeing games that are actually hyped up that are delivering. So I give you that, but my thing is like, why you got to be negative towards every fucking game, man? You know, like you don't know. You see a trailer for the first time, you're already getting pissed off. It's like, play the game. Play the game. You don't know if it's going to be good or bad. You're just speculating right now, you know?
Yeah, I think it is the vocal minority. It's a whole bunch of fanboy talk. Like whenever, I mean, think about it this, like the past 2 months we have gotten like 2 big discussions. We've discussed this on Throwdown too. It's the whole controversy over Spider-Man 4, where it's like port beggars and people just trashing on the game or the developers because it's not on their system, right?
Yeah.
And there was the whole thing with God of War that was like, oh, well, this game is a copycat of Rise. And then there's like this whole like back and forth with fanboys. So like people just find their like reasons that have nothing to do with the game to just like bitch over, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of that talk. And unfortunately that does seep into almost everything and what everyone talks about because it's kind of unavoidable. But yeah, I think the majority of people appreciate games. It's just the minority that make it seem like everyone is polarized like that, and it's really not.
Yeah, Brett, get in here, man.
I would agree with that. The people who are playing video games and enjoying them are too busy playing them and enjoying them to bitch about them on the internet.
That's right. Yeah, and I wonder how many of the people that actually complain about the games actually bought them or will buy them. You know what I'm saying?
You know, this whole Sea of Thieves thing has been an interesting phenomenon because, like, I've been just enjoying the shit out of the game, but there have been a lot of people who want to just talk shit, and I don't get it because they're welcome to not play the game, but just don't let it get to you, man. Is the only thing I can say.
And I guarantee you, most people that are bitching about Sea of Thieves never played it.
Yeah. See, me and Carlos, we're credible because we played this shit, you know?
Yeah, but we don't even, like, we don't go out of our way to even talk about
I don't.
the game.
I already, as a matter of fact, when I play the game, that's when I actually stop talking about it. I'm like, okay, I see what this game is about. It's not for me. I'm done talking about it. Let's move on. Because it doesn't serve me a purpose to bitch about it. The game was never meant for me. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing, too. It's like, most games are not every game is for you. If you don't like the game, move the fuck on. There's plenty of other games for you to play. You know? Simple as that. But people like to bitch, man. And it's not just a video game thing. It's on everything. You go to video in the comment section of any fucking video, anything, Minecraft, you'll see motherfuckers bitching, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or you're like, even, like, how the hell can you complain about a game like Cuphead?
Yeah.
Like, really, like, it's, like, but you'll find people, man. You'll find those people that find, nitpick whatever the hell they need to sort of just feel validated about something, and they'll just complain about it because they need the attention. And yeah.
Yeah, man. And here's the thing I want to end this off at, because Chris was talking about how the people that support you generally don't speak up, right? So, and this leads me to what I wanted to read, what Robert said to us. It's not a question. It's just something he wanted us to know, right? He goes, thanks for this podcast. It helps me get through work. I haven't missed a Throwdown or Throw Down Your Questions in the last year and a half. This is one of the best gaming podcasts on the internet. I appreciate the discussions every week. Thank you, man.
That, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks.
My point is,
you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and no, we're not trying to look for emotional validation or whatever, but the point is, most people that listen to this show, the hundreds of people listen to the show, they feel this way. We rarely get told this shit. I'm not telling you guys to tell us this shit, right? My point is, we rarely get told this stuff. But if we fuck up even once, we hear that shit right the fuck away. The point is, people that are like more negatively aligned or whatever, they're going to be always the first ones to go in there and bitch about something. But people who like you, they're generally going to stay quiet and enjoy your shit, you know? Yeah. So basically, when you look at comments on the internet, you can't take them all as like this is the entirety of my audience or the entirety of gaming's audiences. No, it's just a very small, very loud slice. So just keep that in mind, guys. Like Robert here, that's the majority of people that listen to us, but we don't hear from most of those guys, right? They're too busy enjoying the fucking show, enjoying games, you know. So just keep that in mind. Not everything you see is just a little slice, little like you're looking at it through this very specific viewpoint, you know, a very specific angle. You're not seeing the entire picture. Yeah,
absolutely.
Show on Watson goes in Adam Vale voice, sucker free Sunday. Yeah, for you guys who miss Adam, don't worry, he's coming back on Thursday, man. All right, and the last two questions here are from Mr. Joel Torres. All right, here's another thing I didn't know about. This is crazy. Okay, he goes, Nintendo blocked an SNK Heroines physical release for PlayStation 4. What are your thoughts on this? I didn't even know about this shit.
I didn't either. Wait.
Okay, so I'm gonna read this. This is from Siliconera, right? Basically, okay. SNK Heroines is gonna be a fighting game that just has SNK women and shit fighting each other, right?
Right.
Let's see how well that goes over with gaming journalists in America. Anyway, so it was originally going to be a PS4 game exclusively, right? But, you know, okay, let me just read the shit, some of the highlights. Okay, NIS America was originally only signed on for the PS4 version, but NIS America, Nintendo of Europe, and SNK met each other in two separate meetings at Gamescom as Nintendo wanted to work with SNK on an exclusive basis. A deal was struck so that the physical version of SNK Heroines will be exclusive to Nintendo Switch. So yeah, basically because of the deal, the PS4 will not get a physical copy of the game. They're just going to get the just the digital version. And Nintendo's also going to be the distributor of the game in America. Okay, very interesting.
I did not know any of that.
Yeah. See, that's the type of shit I'm like, yeah, that's kind of fucked up.
Yep.
But at the same time, and again, you guys know me, I'm also real. I also kind of don't care because I wasn't interested in the game. But that is fucked up. What if you were a PS4 guy who was hyped for this fucking game, and you're a physical guy, and now you have to get the digital one? That kind of fucking sucks.
That seems really petty.
That's fucked up.
But see, when you guys want to talk about like an anti-consumer move, that's a dick move. That's an example. I wouldn't say it's completely anti-consumer. It's a dick move. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I like that. We can just go with dick move.
Yeah, it's a dick move. Yeah. By the way, and Nate says, I told you a few weeks back, I appreciate you guys' focus and commitment to topics and not spending 95% of the time stuck on the same thing every other gaming podcast has talked about for this week. Yeah, man. Here's the thing. I think the reason why we're successful is because I don't listen to any other gaming podcasts. I just focus on my shit, you know? I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I don't care what they're doing. You know, I'm worried about Throwdown, you know?
Yeah, sometimes I used to listen to some other podcasts, and a lot of the times they just talk about other podcasts. It's like, what? Why?
That's funny, man. By the way, I'm going to let you guys a little bit, a secret to our success about how we don't spend too much time on one thing. We usually move the topic on whenever I start getting bored of the topic. That's when we cut it off. I'm just being honest. When I start getting bored, like, okay, we're done now. Fuck that shit. All right. Where the fuck are we? And the last question here, man. Okay. This is interesting too. Okay. Is Sony the bad guy for shifting all of their attention to their first party games and not to small indie games and low budget Japanese games?
I wouldn't consider it good guy or bad guy. You have to be. I look more. It's like either you're on the ball and you recognize opportunity, or you miss it, right? So if Sony is not tapping into the indie market, which is being super creative now and really bringing new experiences, and where you get the best experimentation because these guys are unfettered by suits and like the guys at EA at the top or whatever. It's like, we need Shooter Man come on, Shooter Man, and is this Shooter Man? No, we're closing the studio. Like they don't have that issue. So you get guys who are unfettered by that. They don't have any fear, so they really make that kind of stuff. So if they're not sponsoring that or taking advantage of of that stuff that's a missed opportunity. I wouldn't say it's a bad guy thing because obviously Microsoft and Nintendo are taking advantage of it, and they have avenues like Steam that can put their games out. So it's not it's Sony's missed opportunity, not theirs. They don't need these guys don't need Sony to do what they're doing. They're doing it
Yeah.
themselves.
I wouldn't say they'd be necessarily a bad guy, but I would say it's kind of hypocritical on Sony's side because if you think about it, they started off the PS4 hyping the hell out of indies. I mean, I think one of the first, maybe the first E3, they were just talking about indie games and stuff like that. So that's kind of what a lot of consoles have been doing recently. Like when they don't have a lot of games to push, sort of their console, they kind of put put sort of a lot of their chips on the indie scene because they know they're kind of cheap and easy, in a macro sense. But yeah, I think it's a little bit hypocritical of Sony that they don't support indie games like they used to when they launched the console. But as far as a bad person, hey man, if you think this is kind of like a shady practice, then nah, I'm not too sure that's kind of shady. It's wouldn't make them a bad company. They're just capitalizing on what's hitting right now. And now that they have a almost a 2-to-1 lead on their next competitor in console sales, then they don't need indies anymore, so they're just kind of turning a blind eye to them.
Yeah, no, I mean, you guys pretty much said it right there. It's like, at the beginning of Gen, they didn't have any games, so they focus on the indie shit. Now that they have games, they're not focusing on it. Listen, here's the thing. I'm trying to say this without sounding like an asshole. People are more interested in the big AAA games than they are the indie games. If you were to have Sony, their entire E3 conference, nothing but indie games, I guarantee you there'll be fires in the streets. Nobody wants to see that shit, They want the big games. They want the real shit. You know what I'm saying?
Overall, majority of the community would be very disappointed. Because and then Sony has access to things that they're leveraging, like they own Naughty Dog, so they can make Last of Us and all this stuff. They have the rights to Spider-Man, so they can do that stuff, and then they can make these big games and throw the money at it. So like Tony said, that's what people want to see, and they throw those shit out there, and everybody goes nuts. So of course, I mean, all they had to do was play the music from God of War, and I immediately knew that E3 what was coming. Right?
Yeah,
I was fucking excited just from the orchestra. I didn't even see the fucking thing yet. So it is true that people look forward to those big games, but they could sponsor the indie community a little more if you want to say that, but I don't think they're bad guys not for doing it. They're just leveraging the opportunities they see that they could push forward that will obviously give them the best return on investment. So in the beginning it was indie stuff, and now that they have all their ducks lined up and PS4 is rolling and they have this huge install base, they can rely on their first party stuff.
Yep. And also want to mention something Phantom Vash mentioned, which is a good point. When they've kind of stop focusing on sort of like streamlined PS4 indie games, but into more VR stuff because they need games for that now.
Yeah.
They're kind of just like throttling their indie stuff into that pipeline.
Let's see how long that support lasts. Also, the thing is, like, here's something, a lot of people don't talk about. Even though Sony may not be showcasing, a lot of their indie games, they're still putting out new indie games every week on PSN. And those games, even though they don't sell blockbusters, they sell enough and in enough volume for them to keep being made on PlayStation. So don't think that Sony's abandoned indies. They haven't. They're just not promoting because, the thing about advertising money, is finite. It's not infinite. So you got to focus on the shit that's going to bring you the most people. But this is also why at every E3, correct me if I'm wrong, big event, they always have at least 5 minutes for indie games or something, you know what I'm saying? Or even if they don't show at the main event, they'll always have like a side thing, you know what I'm saying? Like if you go to PlayStation's YouTube channel, they'll have like an indie spotlight video or whatever. So those games are still getting shine, just not as much as like the big games, so yeah.
I mean, I saw a trailer on PlayStation's channel for Life of Black Tiger. Like, one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life, but they put the trailer on there, so to say they don't support indie stuff 100% is not right. They do. They even crap like that. get some love.
Yeah, it's like games that shouldn't be getting love are getting love. That trash ass game, you know. My man Hussein, what's going on, brother? So he goes, Sony showcased a lot of indies at Paris Game Show. So Sony has not abandoned them, man. It's just maybe E3 they're not, but Sony has like 50 shows a week, you know. So you'll catch some indie games, man. Don't worry about it, you know. All right, and I'm gonna toss this question at the last minute from Mr. Dipdop Dupati. So speculative type of question. When do you guys think Team Ico Last Guardian developers will reveal their new game? Can I give the honest answer? Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
Oh no. I thought you were gonna say they're probably gonna announce it tomorrow, but when is it coming out?
Yeah.
Maybe in 10 years, maybe in 15.
Yeah. They'll announce it for PS5. How about that?
Yeah, there
Maybe
you go,
that's
man.
a safe buffer.
Last
About
Guardian 2.
mid-generation PS5 will find out.
Shit. And Homeboy's not working for them anymore, right? The what's his name? Fumito Ueda, I think his name is.
Yeah, I think I read something about that.
I'd be more on the lookout for whatever game he's working on next. Not really Team Ico anymore. Sorry. You know, he's the mastermind behind that shit. I heard his new game is going to be kind of in that, you know, that vein. No surprise there, I suppose.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy. All right, I think that's gonna do it for us. So yeah, as we told you at the top of the show, or Carlos specifically told you, we are running a contest, people. We're giving away a free physical copy of God of War for the Xbox. No, I'm sorry, I'm fucking around. For Switch, you know. Come on now. Okay, for PS4 and
You're an asshole.
Yeah, I am an asshole. It's coming up for Ouya, bitches. All right.
Get it on your Raspberry Pi.
All right, so yeah, you know, I'm pretty sure you guys in the chat are already good, but you follow us on here on YouTube, follow us on fucking Twitch and Twitter, follow us on all three places. You don't even have to watch us on fucking Twitch if you don't want to. Just be following us there, and you'll be registered. So Manny's gonna have his little fucking randomizer thing. We're gonna pop somebody's name in there. We're gonna select somebody. We've gotten really good receptions to this so far, so we're gonna keep advertising the fuck out of this. And on Thursday, at the top of Throwdown episode 179, we're gonna announce a winner, man. And when we have selected a winner, we're gonna ship that shit out to you, pre-order from Amazon. So the wish is that you'll hopefully get the shit on launch day. And in case you guys are wondering, this contest is open to everybody in the world except for those motherfuckers in Antarctica, man. Fuck them. They don't listen to Throwdown. But any other country, man, you're good to go, you know? So hold on a second. I just missed something. Who just gave us a super chat? I just missed something here.
Yo, man, sorry's great, man. Thanks.
Sorry's great, my brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
it's a question too. I guess we need to answer this.
See, this is the shit I'm talking about, people. The unspoken rule of Throw Down Your Questions. If you throw a super chat at us, we're gonna answer your question.
Even during the outro, man, we got to do this.
You know what I'm saying? Fuck, how are we gonna do this with the timestamps? I don't know. We'll figure something out. Carlos, I got a vamp here. Give him more contest details.
Yeah, so like Tony mentioned, subscribe to us on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Make sure to leave a comment in that YouTube video to make sure that we have visibility of you entering the contest. We'll announce it. Hopefully, when we announce it, if you are picked, make sure to respond to us because we're going to get in contact with you because we're going to have to get the address information because we want to get this shipped out as soon as this game comes out. So I'm probably going to get it through Amazon, and we're going to do release date shipping to whoever wins the thing. So yeah, good luck, everyone. Hopefully someone deserves the copy.
Deserves? But I don't even know what that means.
No, I don't know. I just Oh, got it. I got your message.
Okay, so let's go, man. So Zara's great ass. Is there any chance y'all get back with Tor Hip Hop Gamer as like in the old days? You mean us? No, man, we're Throwdown, man. We do our own thing. As for Torrance and Hip Hop, they did do an episode, you know, together a couple weeks ago. But here's the thing, I'm just a little bit of a tease, man. Zara's great. Please watch episode 200 of Throwdown. That's gonna air in September. I'm gonna give you that. You know how we do on Throwdown, man. We got this shit already on lock, son. So please watch us on September 6th for episode 200. and you may get your wish. Torrents, Hip Hop Gamer, Throwdown. I'm just saying. Just watch that episode, please, man. That's advertising in the future, people. 200 episodes. We got to do something big. So Torrance has been supporting us forever. Hip Hop's supporting us forever. I'm just saying, watch that episode, man. Awesome. Yeah, I see you guys. Yeah, if you guys want Torrance and Hip Hop back, watch episode 200. That's all I'm going to say about that.
By the way,
we may even get Jeezy back. No, we're
not. Yo, Tony, you said episode 200 is when?
September 6th.
Ooh, there might be another contest during that time. I'm just saying.
It does fall in a certain time frame.
Oh my God, hold on. I almost choked right now, son. I just realized what September 7th is. Oh,
yeah.
Hold up. I gotta combobulate myself. I gotta combobulate myself right now. Guys, episode 200, you're gonna want to watch that fucking episode. We're gonna be giving away a big game. A big game. A game that we answered. How many questions did we answer about this shit? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions about today's episode.
A game that may or may not rhyme with Fighter Pan.
Oh, man. Thwip, people. Oh, man. We're doing this outro now, right? Does anybody else have any fucking questions, man? Let me just read some random shit. Tony, I'm with you with the Yuya copy. You already know, son. Bring Torrance back. Hey, guys, have you played Owlboy on Switch? I never even heard of that game.
That's been on Steam for a while. It's an indie game. It's a 2D platformer adventure game. It's supposed to be pretty good. It's in my Steam backlog in the sea of the other things. If you ever seen Raiders of the Lost Ark at the end, that's what my Steam backlog looks like. It looks like where they put the Ark of the Covenant, so it's in there.
Yeah.
By the way, sorry, I want to read Sar's comment. He says, yeah. No problem, Tony. I know y'all each do your own things, but I just miss Warzone and STFU in play. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to ask you questions did you ever listen to it? Because I wasn't on the original Throwdown, but did you ever listen to the Fan Zone on STFU in play? I'm just saying.
Carlos was doing his own thing too back there, man. By the way, those were really good fucking days.
Y'all remember our spoiler cast?
Oh, by the way, people.
Oh, good shit, Brett. Good shit.
Brett,
I try.
I'm just saying, on Saturday, April 28th, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, you're gonna want to watch this, this channel, especially if you've beaten God of War. I'm just saying. Also, Alejandro Lopez goes, and I wonder if he's related to Manny. he goes, so any tickets about the God of War that you are playing, Tony? I don't know what you mean by tickets, but yes, I am. I'm gonna say fuck it. I beat the game. I'm gonna be ready. That review you're gonna get from me, and it's not gonna be impressions. It'll be a full review. Will be complete, son. I'm telling you right now, man. Thursday, my shit will be up, and we're gonna talk about that shit. Y'all
motherfuckers should have heard him this weekend. Like, it could not do anything because he got God of War. It's like, yo, man, I got God of War. I got to beat through this.
Yep.
Like, he made this shit a priority so he could get you guys a full review and not an impression.
Yeah, usually I only give you an impression because I'm never going to give you a review of a game I have not finished. I don't do that shit. I know other journalists do. I don't do that shit. This shit I beat. Right now I'm doing side stuff. You guys already know the game has side stuff. So it's going to be complete, son. Whew, I can't fucking, because I have not been able to talk about this game publicly, son. I've been telling my boys some shit, but I cannot say anything publicly. This shit is crazy, man. All right, so what the fuck are we doing now? We're doing an outro now. I'm just reading these comments right now. This is crazy. Yo, by the way, there's gonna be a point where we get big enough where we could actually just do a whole episode of us just reading comments. It's gonna be crazy, man. Kal-El says he wants Bubba Bass Fishing and Throwdown crossover. That's Torrance's other channel, by the way.
Wait, what?
Torrance has a fishing channel that's actually almost has 1,000 subscribers. It's actually doing really good.
Okay.
So he wants so you want us to go fishing? Yeah.
Shit.
Like you want us to go fishing with Torrance, man? Check it out. Joey says Warzone, Spoiler Cast, Throwdown, and Minority Report were my jams. Yeah, and only 2 of those have survived. Ain't that something? It's funny about Minority Report. I fashioned a lot of Throwdown based off that podcast. I love that podcast. It was Charlie and JJ and Hated and I think Dirty Bird was on there too. You know, the one white guy. He fucked up the whole show because it was the Minority Report. Then they brought in this white guy. Fucked it all up. You know? But I'm supposed we did that too. We were the original Minority Report. All right, or the spiritual successor of it. Then we brought on these Murdochs.
Yep. Fucking token white guy reporting in.
Oh, man. Yeah, but like I always say, you're Irish, so that shit don't count.
Yeah, I'm barely white.
All right, man. So let's wrap this motherfucker up, man. So thank you for watching and listening. Leave us your questions in the comment section of this episode here on YouTube or on the Coalition. We'll answer them on next week's show. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, Mixer, Twitter, and Facebook at Throwdown a Show. Links are located in the description below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco. Then I was joined by Mr. Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
And Mr. Brett Murdoch.
Everything's better with cheese and beer.
You know. All right, guys. Later.
Deuces.
Hey, people.